You've got to hold and give, but do it at the right time, and the right time is now for everybody just about, apart from Liverpool Football Club. Isn't that right, Scouser Atkins and Scouser Owen Mawson? Although, which one of you is more Scouse? I believe it's him, isn't it?
Technically. Although he is closer to the city centre, but he's over that water, you see, that Mersey River.
Wool, is he? I've learned this, if you're from over the water, you're a wool.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, proper Wolves are like Wigan. That's wool.
Southport, Wigan, yeah.
Far away.
St. Helens.
St. Helens, that's wool.
Yeah, that is
If
wool
you're from
territory.
St. Helens, turn off this video
Would
now.
they like rugby in there?
The rugby league bits.
Rugby's the main sport.
Yeah, not in this town. Anyway, we're here to speak about the horrible mess that is Liverpool Football Club at the minute, which is quite funny for me to see as a Newcastle fan. I don't know why. I used to live with a Liverpool fan. Seeing Liverpool now not as good as it used to be brings me a little bit of joy. I can't lie to you, lads. But where does it start? We might as well start with transfers.
Yeah, we might as well.
Because we are sat here on transfer deadline day. Liverpool are not going to be signing anybody, even though, as we're sat here just about an hour ago, it was confirmed that Konate is going to miss the next 3 weeks. Van Dijk is still out for 2 weeks, I saw.
Yeah.
Nat Phillips now can't get his dream move to wherever the bloody hell he was going.
Galatasaray, yeah.
Everyone loves
Poor
Galatasaray.
Poor lad.
He's got the shaven head. Is he naturally bald, or is it just a choice for him? Because he could get the hair replacement.
It's a choice.
I think it's a fashion statement.
A fascist. Well,
I think
careful
it is.
now.
Fashion statement.
But where do we start, Jack Atkins, with the transfer policy of Liverpool? Because it seems to be a little, not so severe, but quite a bit parallel to Mike Ashley's Newcastle.
It's because
In that the money's there,
yeah,
but they're not spending.
It feels like we're moaning over nothing. Because I've had people in the office say, "Oh, not bought another £70 million striker, have you?" But it's
I got that from Dan Heppel just this morning, actually.
those black cats. What do they like? But it's a weird one because we clearly need reinvestment. We need reinforcements. Our model has worked brilliantly in the past when we've had saleable assets and recoup the profits funnel them into new signings. We haven't got any saleable assets at the moment, and our owners are just like, "Oh, we gave you 30 million for one player," and then you've got, I don't know, Shrewsbury Town going, "Yeah, we just spent 70 million on 5 players." And it's just
Well, the problem is that FSG, Liverpool has almost become too big for FSG to handle in terms of the value of the squad. So the whole sell to buy method hasn't existed since 2017, 2018.
But have they not left that in the wayside because they're handing contracts to Mo Salah? And it seems a bit funny to me that when Mo Salah got that big contract, the recent one, his form's dipped. It's gone. He's got the big contract. He's like, "Oh, bollocks, I've got that now. See you later."
I thought he was our best player until the World Cup, and since then he's been shocking.
Is that something to write home about, though?
No.
Being Liverpool's best
No,
player
no,
this
no.
season?
Well, to be fair, Alisson Becker's been the best player. Outfield, it's been Mo Salah until the World Cup, and since he's come back, he's been a shambles. But the transfer thing, it like runs deeper because we had Michael Edwards, the director of football. He left like a year or so ago. That passed down to Julian Ward. Sorry, he's now leaving. So we're just in a shambles.
Why are they all leaving?
we don't know.
We don't know.
There's stuff coming out of Liverpool. If you're not a Liverpool fan, you may have heard the term "the Liverpool way," and it just sounds like
Boot room.
This means more.
yeah.
We come not to play.
But the Liverpool way is you do everything quietly and you announce it when it's done.
Right.
Like
Well,
we did it with Gakpo.
Cody
We did it
Gakpo,
with
yeah.
Fabinho. We hijacked that one from Man United. Who else did we do it with? There's someone else where we just went, "Oh yeah, we signed him."
Well, Darwin Núñez came kind of out the blue.
Yeah. So that's the way we usually do things. But as a result, any other proper news doesn't really come out properly. So we don't know what's going on, really. Some people are saying, "Oh, well, Jurgen Klopp's now got more of a say in the transfers," or they're waiting for another director of football, sporting director, whatever, or they might wait until there's a full sale or a partial sale to restructure, or they might restructure. Don't know.
Well, the Jurgen Klopp getting more power thing is something that has been rumoured why Julian Ward is leaving, because he's realising that he's not going to be the main man making the decisions like Michael Edwards was, getting all these really what seemed like bargains at the time and then turning into world beaters like Mo Salah for like 35 million, Mane for under like 35 million. Even Fabinho was 40 million at the time, and we can get into him later, but he's been a shambles this season.
Him against Brighton was putrid.
No, I mean, not just him against any team all season long. Him against himself, Ross.
We'll get on him later. But
To be
why?
honest.
I can see, just to play devil's advocate here, I can see why Klopp would obviously want more power throughout the football club. That makes sense from his point of view. But from the other point of view, why wouldn't you just keep the thing that was working between like the glory times of like 2017 to 2021, whatever the glory period was of this Jurgen Klopp reign? Why would things have to change?
Everything eventually changed in football.
Yeah.
When FSG first came in, they were operating under the pretense that financial fair play was going to become the measuring stick and the be-all and end-all. And as that's kind of gone wishy-washy, they've been like, oh, well, they're skirting it. Anyway, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's weird because the way I have explained it is that FSG have run us as a business brilliantly.
Yeah.
As a sporting institution, not as much.
Well, I mean, just look at the value of the club. They bought us for 300 million. They're trying to sell us for, 4 billion? So they've ran the club really well in that aspect off the pitch, commercially and whatever. But then on the pitch with the sell to buy method, it worked flawlessly until we won the Champions League. And then at that point, we became champions of Europe and the world eventually. Then it just turned into, just to get it in there. It might be Newcastle one day.
It's
You
the
know?
smugness. I tell you, it's the smugness. That's what it is.
But when we
Champions of Europe
when we got to
and
that
the
point,
world.
when we got to that point, and players started to see us as a destination rather than a stepping stone, that's when the squad, like, it started to just become, like you said, contract extensions, players aging with more wage, and then no more money to bring players in because we're spending it all on wages.
And
instead.
I would assume players coming in becomes harder when you get to that level of where you work. Because when you're at, 2016 Liverpool, you're not quite there yet, are you?
Yeah.
You're just under the surface of your Man Cities and whatnot.
Yeah.
Buying the Manes and people like that, it comes at a certain level. But when you're up there, Mane, if you were buying him after the Champions League win, surely would have cost a hell of a lot more money and got less return for the buy-to-sell method. Which I've got to admit, as a fan who isn't, supporting Liverpool, I forget about Coutinho when Jurgen Klopp sat there moaning about, I don't have any money with my 60 million goalkeeper and my 75 million centre half and my whatever else you've spent on the rest of the bloody squad. I forget about Coutinho bringing in that much money.
Michael Edwards. Michael Edwards being a genius in the market there. 140 million, insane. He was our best player at the time, probably. But 140 million is way above his value.
Yeah.
Even Coutinho in his prime, 140 million is madness. So, yeah, and then we took that money, like you said, reinvested it in the squad. But since that Coutinho sale, our biggest sale was Mane last summer, I think. 40 million.
Because we got good at selling our prospects for a lot of money because we're just like, well, Liverpool, we have good players. Do you want to buy Ryan Brewster? Do you want to buy Dominic Solanke?
That's where Michael Edwards made, that's where he would done the real hard work there.
What's he doing now then, Michael Edwards?
He's just, he was heavily linked to Chelsea recently, but at the minute he's just taking a sabbatical.
Oh, he's gone.
And then he will come back eventually. It's just where will he go? He's been linked with United, Chelsea, all the big clubs around the world, really. Julian Ward just seems like he's going to take a break as well.
Yeah. So that obviously the mantra is going to have to change in the next, now, in the summer.
Yeah.
Is that likely to happen? I know it needs to happen, but is it likely to happen?
Well, we're putting all our eggs in one massive...
He's going to Madrid, man.
Jude Bellingham.
Jude Bellingham-shaped hole.
Yeah, and... It's one of those, obviously, as a Liverpool fan, I'm thinking, if I was Jude Bellingham, I'd think, I'm still a teenager, have a couple of years at Liverpool, and then when I'm in my mid-20s, then get my move to Madrid.
If I was Jude Bellingham, I would think nothing in life is guaranteed. I'll go to Madrid now, just in case I break my knee and my career ends in an instant.
Thank God you're not Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
But is it going to change, Owen? Is the money? I know the money is there to spend, but will it be spent?
No, not as long as FSG are owners and they don't have investment.
But why wouldn't they do that?
Because they won't.
But why?
They just help.
Where's it going? Where's it going?
Well, that's the thing. Who knows? Because we are like, I think the stats came out, or the money value of it came out recently.
Deloitte League, wasn't it?
Yeah, like the money league, where like only Man City and Real Madrid are above us in the money league in terms of revenue brought into the club since in 2021. I think this was. So the money's there and it's not being spent. I can't tell you why it's not being spent.
Well, the money was there. We were after Tchouaméni before he went to Real Madrid, so we had the money there, and then we just went right. And we just keep doing that. We keep going, we haven't signed him. Well, better luck next time.
See, it seems so naive at the time in that Jurgen Klopp is a man who points out his target and he gets his man usually. It happened with Van Dijk. And then with Tchouaméni last summer, Like when he chose Real Madrid, we just didn't have a plan B. The other option was always Bellingham, who we were linked with last summer, but that was never going to happen. Dortmund were never going to sell Bellingham and Haaland in the same year.
Yeah.
So it was a case of, let's just try and push through one more season with this midfield. Turns out the midfield has got no legs left at all.
That's the thing, watching Liverpool now. I know everyone says it's the main issue is the legs in the middle of the park, and relying on people like James Milner coming in as like a first backup for like lots of positions now, isn't it?
Yeah, all over the pitch, really.
And how are they going to? I know, personally, I think Fabinho's done. So we'll speak about him now.
Let's get it off my chest.
There was a time. Well, there you go. Off you go. Off you pop.
I thought Fabinho, right, was the most underrated defense mid at like a year or two ago in the world, because you had Conte, you had Rodri. Who else is big DM in the Premier League? Fabinho was never talked about as the best among them, apart from among Liverpool fans. And
we think everything's number one.
Yeah, of course.
We do have rose-tinted glasses.
But then, I don't know whether it's just since the summer, or since last summer, or just since the World Cup break, but he looks like he runs around. He's got the mobility of a 60-year-old man. Honestly, he's got no pace.
Which works when you've got a lot of the ball. But this year, when the going's getting tough and you're not having so much of the ball, it shows up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and a lot of I've seen Liverpool fans saying it's about he needs legs around him. But then you say that about Thiago, and then you say that about Henderson. You can't say it about every single midfielder needs legs around him.
I thought Henderson was the legs until very recently.
Well, yeah. And I love Jordan Bryan Henderson, but Captain leader legend, but this season it's just not really working out, is it? And I think the World Cup has took it out of him. Anything that he had left, I think he's done. Everyone looks like they're shattered, and we've still got half a season to play.
That's the thing I've seen a lot of people say about this season for Liverpool, is the fact, I think there was a stat saying they played 20 more games than Arsenal have over a certain period of time, and because of that, it's taken out of the Liverpool squad last season. Obviously, we've had a bit of a weird season this year with the World Cup.
Yeah.
And just the extra games on top of the extra games of last season is really showing now. Is that a thing that's real?
I'd say so. I mean, we were, 2 results from winning the quadruple. We played every game there was to play last season. And at the time, people were like, perhaps it's the kind of mental, not anguish, but, going that close to Champions League, that close to the Premier League, and then not getting it. Perhaps they've just gone, it's happened to us again, lads.
Yeah.
Some others say, some fault Klopp for being too loyal, which I can kind of see.
Which he's come out and I disagree with that, but
if the money's not getting spent, he's got no other choice.
Well, exactly.
And again, if you were 2 results off winning the 4 major trophies you're in for, you think
it's not too broken, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I always look back at the season when we were 1 point off the league, when City pinched us to it, and then the year later we didn't spend hardly any money improving the first team that summer, and then we went on and won the league the following season. It could have been a case of he thinks, we can do it again, but he's obviously really misjudged.
But everyone's 3 or 4 years older now, aren't they?
Yeah, everyone was in their mid-20s then.
Yeah. And the 60 games last season. I saw a stat just the other day, Jordan Henderson played more games last season than Arsenal did, or whoever the team was. So that has took it out of them physically, mentally. It's taken it out of them, and it's really shown. But it's not just since the World Cup. It's since last summer.
Yeah.
First game, Fulham away, we looked leggy immediately.
We did.
It does scream mismanagement from the very top, because it's odd how the entire squad appears to be aging at the same rate, apart from Harvey Elliott and that little lad who plays in the midfield now.
Bacic.
That's him, man. Lovely lad, him. Lovely lad.
But that shows our thing. It's right, who do we play in midfield? Do we play a 34-year-old fella or a 14-year-old boy? We've not got that middle anymore.
So what, is that loyalty from Klopp, or is that just Klopp being loyal because the owners won't spend money? Because it's odd how it is happening right across the midfield.
Why not both?
I mean, we know last summer we tried to get Tchouaméni.
Yeah.
So we've tried there. He chose Real Madrid. Fair enough. They were champions of Europe. You can't really argue. We want Bellingham. So it's we're always linked with midfielders.
Yeah.
But then it's like you said, if the money's not there, he needs to he's got no choice but to be loyal. I guarantee last summer we signed Tchouaméni, Oxlade-Chamberlain probably gets sold, or
Naby lad.
Naby probably.
What a disappointment he is, by the way.
It's annoying though, because when he plays, he's a very good footballer. He's just made out of crisps.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
He's a rich tea biscuit, Ross. He can't. You dunk him, and
Hey,
he's
that's
gone.
a bit more dense than a crisp, by the way. What we're going here? We're going for the crisp. Or we're going for the rich tea biscuit.
We'll go for a McCoy. It's a thicker crisp.
Yeah, go on then. Go on then.
It's still a crisp.
It's halfway to a biscuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have that McCoy's. McCoy's, it's halfway to a biscuit.
I tell you what, our midfield three since Jurgen's basically also given up hope on the midfield three of Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho. Now he's dropped Hendo and Fabinho. Now he's playing Bajetic. How do you pronounce it? Is it Bajetic? Basetic? I don't really know. The young lad.
What's
in
his first name? Just call him his first name.
No, I'm calling him Bajetic. That's what I'm going with.
I've been saying Bacetic, but again,
there you go.
Until he's more established.
David Batty.
The big B. So we're playing him in DM now instead of Fab, and instead of Hendo, we've been playing Keita, and we're so much more forward thinking with the press now. Whereas we used to just be backing up, dropping deep, and running circles really. But now with Naby, who knows how long he's going to stay fit. But at least we are seeing us pressing forward up the pitch a bit more now that we've got, I say more legs. They're brittle legs, but they're there. So we'll see how long they last. But the thing is, Naby Keita's potentially going on a free in the summer. Oxlade-Chamberlain's potentially going on a free in the summer.
I'd get rid of him straight away, mate. What's the point of having Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain?
I agree, but then it goes back to the mismanagement. We could have sold him last summer, got money, and then reinvested it in another midfielder.
Is there something to be said about Jurgen Klopp and his tactics? Because I was watching the Brighton game, the FA Cup tie, and he was changing things. And to say they didn't work would be the biggest understatement this year. Darwin Núñez was brought on to find space and do things out wide, and then nothing was played out wide.
That's
for example,
he's an enigma of a man. Darwin Núñez.
Hang on, I thought you were the big Núñez defender.
That's what I'm saying. He's an enigma of a man. He can do what he wants and do no wrong.
Love Darwin Núñez.
I've been saying all year upstairs that man is rash, and every single time I've said that, you're like 1 and 2.
Darwin Núñez is chaos.
He was for a while.
He's chaos with legs. As soon as he gets a bit of composure, he'll come good.
We look exciting when he's on, but that Brighton
just because
match,
he's unpredictable. He's like Le Mans Loire. You can get that from him. We got him from Colchester for a hand job and whatever.
How old's Loire now? What, 40?
But he's got his own song on YouTube, and that's the point.
We'll take him, Ross.
But Jurgen Klopp in his tactics, he was trying. This is just gone off the Brighton game, so obviously it's an isolated incident. But he was trying things, and none of them worked.
Oh, nothing worked.
Is something else got to be said about Jurgen Klopp in terms of what he's actually got at his disposal?
I think one of the things is in the early stages of the season when we were having like disappointing results that is again going to sound cocky, results that we on paper should have won. I was saying, oh no, I think we've been found out because so many years of playing that dominant style, people are going to, start learning, picking up tricks because for ages it was just park the bus and lump it forward.
Yeah.
And you'll probably
Steve Bruce Ball, I see you.
Bruce Ball.
We could not our biggest thing that we struggled to break down was always a low block. We always struggled against a low block, but this season it's complete opposite.
We're struggling to play football.
I love to play against the low block side now.
Yeah.
Because we just can't keep a clean sheet. My thing with the style of play, I think in the summer signing Darwin Núñez meant that there was going to be a change up in style anyway. But then the injuries, the poor form, it's just thrown everything. Like it's now a mix of everything. We're trying to play slightly different football, but we're still trying to kind of press. But none of it's working.
Because definitely with Núñez and definitely Gakpo, we've seen too much of them already. The way we used to do things was right. We'll bring you in. You might not play for a while. You be in the squad, be around, see how we do things, and then we'll ease you in. But with Gakpo, it's like, no choice, lad. Get out there and look underwhelming. And I feel bad for him because he's just been thrown in.
I feel so sorry for Gakpo.
Again, just looking on the outside in, it feels like with Gakpo and Núñez to an extent as well, it's just gone, we've got the front three. I'll put you in one of the spots, and if it works, we'll keep you there for a bit. But it doesn't work, we'll put you over there, and Salah's over there, isn't he? He's on the right. Yeah. But the other two just seem to be who's available, he goes there. Who's available, he goes there. It doesn't scream to me that Núñez was signed to play wide on the left, or is that what he was? Yeah.
Well, for Benfica, he always drifted out left. I remember when we signed him, I looked at his heat map for the majority of last season. And he's always drifting out wide to the left. I think against Liverpool in the Champions League, he played out wide left. So he did it for Benfica.
He doesn't look like he does it by trade, though.
No. Well, he doesn't look like he does anything by trade. That's the thing.
Because when we signed him, we thought, oh, well, that's Firmino gone then. We're going to play Núñez through the middle, Diaz on the left, Salah on the right.
But you can't bloody do that. He can't finish.
No.
He'd have the same record as Haaland. If he could finish, he'd have the same record as Haaland this season.
Oh, he would.
Núñez would.
He was 1 and 2 for a while.
He should be 1 and 1 though. The amount of sitters he misses.
Yeah.
Is scandalous.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I still love him. It's chaos in a cup.
Yeah, but that's like me liking Vernon Anita back in the day. I could see he was crap.
And did
but
you
he's a
like
beautiful-
Vernon Anita back in the
He's
day?
a beautiful boy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jurgen must have seen something in him to make him the number one forward target to replace, not to replace Mane because that's what we signed Diaz for. Although Diaz is out now, but yeah, when you look at our front six on paper, like we've got Firmino, Salah, Gakpo, Diaz,
Jota
and
Nunez.
Elliot's still in that, or is he
and
more
Nunez.
a centre midfield now?
I think Jurgen would rather play him in centre mid. Like
Why?
because last season, I think it was Old Trafford away. He started him centre mid. I think that was the game that we. I don't know if that was when we beat them 5-0. I'm thinking of a different game. But he started
terrible.
centre mid at Old Trafford, and I think he came off injured. But it shows that he trusts him to play on that right hand side of the midfield three, which worries me a little bit because I don't know if he's physical enough to get back and cover Trent. And then Salah doesn't usually get back too much, so I don't know if that's where he should be playing. And he's not going to play wide right because that's where Mo plays. So he's either playing left midfield, which I don't think suits him because he's very one-footed on his left foot, so he can't cut in on the right, and he's quite slow. So it's either on the left or a midfield three, which he hasn't been playing in much this season. So
He's tenacious as bollocks. I
He
can see
is.
that.
Oh, yeah.
He's a bit of a flash
And
little
he's
lad, though, isn't he?
still
With
only
what he
19.
does on the pitch. There's not much. No, I'm not going to say he's like Anthony because that's one extreme to the other. But he's a bit, you know what I mean? There's no end, by and large, product. There is some, obviously the goal against Wolves and
Yeah.
whatnot. But there is some, but there's not much.
no, I agree.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is that me being unfair?
No,
It just screams that he's not at Liverpool's level, like at the minute. It seems like it's a bit too much for him at the minute.
I think that's fair, but also it's similar to Gakpo. Like he's played too much
He has,
football.
yeah.
He's only 19 and he's played far too much football.
And his
And
leg nearly fell off a couple of years ago.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
he came
yeah.
off a massive injury last season. And because he hit the ground running before that injury and thought, we've got a diamond there. Went off injured, thought, I hope he comes back all right. Came back, he's had some very good showings. And then there's been others where, because he's been part of a terrible midfield,
Yeah.
it's kind of thrown him under the bus. I don't know. I don't know how you solve a problem like Harvey Elliott.
He's been used as a scapegoat a lot this season, Harvey,
Right.
which I think is really unfair because he's being overplayed. He's playing in multiple positions every game. Like he'll play centre mid one game, he's out left the next. So it's hard to get that consistency, and he's still a kid.
Yeah.
Curtis Jones has taken a shellacking
Curtis
from...
Jones,
He
yeah,
barely
yeah.
plays, doesn't he?
He comes off the bench and just does daft things sometimes. But again, everyone's doing daft things. But a lot of the fan base are using him
Yeah.
as a scapegoat as well, which I don't think. I mean, he is a local lad. You know, show him some support. But yeah, Curtis is getting a lot of flack.
Why should the blame be then? Let's name names. Let's throw them under the bus. Let's go. Who's blamed?
Atkins.
I'm blamed.
Yeah.
I'll hold my hands up and take the blame. I don't know, because every match it that I go into, it's just like, everyone but Alisson was crap.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone's
all over the place.
Everyone's been before our we're in a bit of an injury crisis at the minute, but before that, everyone's form was woeful anyway.
Yeah.
Even like Van Dijk was playing poor.
Yeah.
Trent had a shocking season by his standards. Robertson's not really made an impact, but it's one of them. It's where one or two players does poorly, and then the rest it's like a domino effect. Now everyone's low on confidence. Everyone's in poor form. Salah was 1-on-1 against Brighton. Could have took us. I think it was to make it 1-0 or maybe 2-0. He scuffs that. Like it's a different game with 2 goals up.
It's one of those though, because when we're at our peak, you ride your luck. You might have one player who's playing terribly, and the rest pick it up behind him. You might have one player that's out injured. You can rotate it in. But it seems to us, it's like buses. It's like, all right, you're not going to have one player who's terrible. You're going to have 3. You're not going to have one player out injured. You're going to have 5. And like we were saying before, it's a failure to kind of assess the squad options. We had a good squad a few years ago when we had like Shaqiri on the bench. We all remember that goal against United in
yes.
the
It's
pre-season
a thing in
friendly.
this office.
What an overhead kick.
It was one summer's afternoon, wasn't it, last year? Where was it you, Owen? It just came. We all remember where we were when Shaqiri scored that meaningless
absolutely.
pre-season
It was-
overhead kick.
It was when we sold him, and I just the memories came flooding back. 100,000 people in America,
It's
big
just the
open
way-
door stadium.
We all
Power
remember
cube.
where we
Stadium.
were.
Oh,
I've never
I-
seen the goal before in my life.
Oh, what a moment! It goes down in the annals of history, Ross. In Liverpool, it's bigger than Champions League. I reckon.
I thought you were about to say it's bigger than Tranmere. I was about to say, put some respect on the Super White Army.
I would never.
I don't mean to bring things back to Klopp all the time, but you mentioned that it's always 5 injuries.
Yeah.
Is that not a bit of his methods getting found out? Because Newcastle used to get a boatload of injuries, and then I think it was Rafa came in and said, "Here's why you're having all these injuries," and all of a sudden, most of the injuries stopped. Is it a Jurgen Klopp issue again?
We do play a high intense style. We train very intense. We didn't have a club doctor at the beginning of the season.
That might help.
Which
Yeah.
which also just
Why
goes
is that?
into
What's happened there?
just mismanagement from the top to the bottom. Really,
Sounds like it.
it really is. That's why I think is the biggest issue at the club is just mismanagement from the board. And like, if you lose a club doctor, surely you should replace him.
Yeah.
Should you replace him before you lose him?
Well, yeah.
That's usually the way things are done.
How does that work? Then just send him down to the local hospital, A&E. Pulled a cough.
Director of football announces he's leaving at the end of the season. Do we have one lined up? No. We don't have anyone lined up to take at the minute. It just seems like Klopp's just going to decide who comes in and who goes.
So people know we're desperate for a director of football or a director of medicine, whatever you want to call it, doctor. It's just been... But it's when these things come out and we're just like, oh, why is everything injured? And then just like a piece will come out like online. It's just like, oh yeah, Liverpool been without a doctor for months.
Yeah.
And then the fan base goes, why have we not had a doctor?
Yeah,
that seems like one of the fundamentals of having a football team.
I only found this out like a couple of weeks ago that we didn't have a doctor at the start of the season, which just blows my mind. How can you expect the team to operate at like the highest level in all comps and have no doctors?
Especially after we put all the money into the new training centre as well.
Yeah, it's a big fancy building.
State-of-the-art equipment and everything. It's like, oh, have you got anyone to run it? It's like, no, but we've got a lovely canteen.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Sorry, doctor, your salary's being used at the canteen. Can't have you around anymore. See you later.
We're having ravioli for lunch. Get a plate.
So I revoke that question there about it being a Klopp issue. It's clearly a club issue. It's not nothing to do with Klopp at all.
Klopp could have made better decisions. Absolutely.
Such as?
Well, Brighton and on the weekend. Just don't put Fabinho on the pitch. He's a liability. He always has been this season. I saw
He's got nobody else, Owen.
He's got batches.
Yeah.
He's got literally a young boy who's been playing very well and has been given a new contract, a new deal out of it, hasn't it? But still,
I did see him against Villa and he looked pretty tidy. Like,
but again, it's like what we.
Is that when he scored a goal? I think Villa away. Did he score over Christmas?
Yeah.
Sure, I watched that game. Yeah.
He came on off the bench in that one.
Because it's, but like we were saying before, it's like, what's the choices? An 18-year-old who's getting put out there, or it's a 30-odd-year-old who just looks like he's been in Space Jam and had his powers taken away from him.
But Fabinho is like, I feel like I'm using him as a scapegoat now, which I don't want to do. But
he's just the current scapegoat.
He's the current scapegoat. But like,
he's someone else next
week.
He's
proven all season now that he can't be trusted, even for 10 minutes off the bench, which is mental because he should have been sent off against Brighton. Should have been sent off.
Definitely.
And the look on his face as soon as
he
put
knew
it in,
he went in the air.
Like that's how he escapes red cards. Just do that. Sorry, ref. I know that was bad.
It's one of the worst cameos I've ever seen.
It really,
it was terrible.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
So I think hopefully Klopp's learned his lesson since then. But even before that, he should have learned his lesson that these lads just can't be trusted at the minute. They're not gonna play themselves into form like he hoped they would. So now it's a case of let's just get through to the end of the season and give the youngsters a chance because we're out of the FA Cup now, we're out of the Carabao Cup, we're not going to win the Champions League, we're not going to make top four. So let's just try and
might as well, yeah.
Let's just try and get some form.
I mean, being out of the domestic cups might be a blessing in disguise considering everyone's knackered. It's like, don't worry, you can have a bit of a break. And as we were saying there about with the players being out of form, Klopp's not the type of manager like maybe someone more abrasive like a Mourinho would, who'd be like, oh, you know him, rubbish him.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Klopp won't do
Klopp
that.
will put an arm around and be like, oh, no, he's done stuff for us before. Let's not have short memories.
I just don't understand how we look so leggy even after the World Cup because most of our squad had like a full month break there.
Yeah.
So what have they been doing?
Just eating our wonderful world-class canteen.
That's why Naby Keita's back.
So it's I know for a fact it's an unanswerable question. We'll ask it anyway. You're down the league. You're not investing in the squad, even though it's clear you need to invest in the squad. Why? I'm trying to put yourself in the mindset of the owners. Why is it not happening? Because surely they're biting their own faces off you.
So if I was FSG, I would be like, if you're trying to sell a house, let's do it up.
Yeah.
They're letting their house rot and trying to get rid of it for a high value anyway. Which I don't understand. I don't understand why. Like what the thought process is behind it. But then all the stuff has been coming out that lately has been coming out that we're looking for a majority stakeholdership instead of a full sale because it doesn't look likely. So maybe now they're just trying to get to that point just to see what investment comes because they pretty much said that they're they're not going to be able to fund it.
Well, that's clear what their intentions are. Then, if they're looking for a new majority shareholder stake over whatever, they just want all the money, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Just to keep for themselves.
Well, they're a hedge fund at the end of the day. They are finance people. They're not, for the love of it, sports people.
I don't think anybody is, are they?
Well,
Are
must
they?
be one or two out there.
At that level, none of them are.
Niall Quinn.
I said at that level, not that level.
Yeah, it's been bad timing as well, because obviously the ownership has been very divisive amongst the fan base. Because it's one, I can see both sides of it. I can see how they're doing terribly, like Owen said, not refurbishing the house. I had a little giggle when you said that, because I can imagine it on Homes Under the Hammer. Dion Dublin.
Dion Dublin's outside.
The stairs. The bedroom, he goes up the stairs and he falls through them.
Yeah.
Don't say that. John Henry might be on the phone to Dion Dublin to try and sign him after this.
Get him in.
How?
Put it in
Dion's
shit.
got lots of money with Dion's Dube. Remember Dion's Dube, the old square drum thing he used to try and sell?
No.
Fantastic. Get it Googled.
I will admit, I'm not actually connected to the internet.
Oh,
This is
well,
just
that's a
off the
shame.
show. It's not even
It's
real.
off the show, yeah.
It's cake.
I just wanted to show off my nice stickers. Because, yeah, like we were saying, they've reinvested in the stadium. They built the main stand. They're doing the Annie Road end. Should take us to what, 58, 62, something like
It'll
that?
take us to about 62, 61, 62.
Yeah.
We'll be over a 60,000 seater.
So therefore, the match day revenue is going to improve. We've got the new training facilities. Like we said, everything off the pitch. We've got an official coconut water sponsor.
They sound like fantastic owners.
This is
Yeah.
the thing is everything they've done for the club off the pitch has been fantastic. They've run us really well off the pitch.
As a brand and as a business, we are fantastic. But then when it's just like, you got to spend money to make money, and just like, spend money.
But can
No.
just the devil's advocate this son of a bitch again? Can
Yeah.
you not just say the stand's going up, the other stand's going up, the training ground's being done, that's where all the money is. There's not enough money for the type of player that you need to improve the team. So let's just stick with what we've got until the revenues can balance themselves out a bit more, and then we'll load everywhere.
But then that's dangerous, because that's happened this season. We're going to miss Champions League. We're going to miss out on a lot of money for not getting Champions League, which is going to annoy the hell out of them, missing out on all that money.
Yeah.
So eventually, I don't mean to insult Arsenal or Arsenal fans, because I hope that they win the league. But Arsenal, with those few seasons out of the Champions League, like, it rocked them. Like, their squad was really
But
poor.
the parallel is there with them, because they built that new stadium, and Wenger famously had no money on that level, like the top of the Premier League level transfer budgets for all that time. And he did wonderfully well to get in the Champions League every year just to rebalance the books. And now I guess they are starting to see. I mean, they had signings like Ozil, which were like, one-offs and that, but Liverpool have had one-offs as well, haven't they?
Oh, of course. I mean,
Like Gakpo wasn't cheap, for example, recently.
what was he, 30?
He's relatively cheap in
Got it
terms
here.
of what you see Chelsea spending at the minute.
37 on Gakpo.
They need investigated.
It's
FFP is the biggest.
You can't
it's
give people 8.5-year contracts and just say, "Oh, it's fine. We'll just spread the cost over a long period." That's not how football should work, surely.
and like, I know it's not football manager. You don't fix everything by just, like you said, blarting money at stuff. But it'd be nice to have, like, you strengthen from a position of power. It's the old cliche,
Yeah.
but it's true. You do, if you need to, and especially like the levels we got to. Again, it's going to sound wanky, but we've got to be eating at that top table now. We can't be like, only like Munich and Madrid, etc., can afford those players. Like, no, we've got to get some statement signings in. Like you said, we're hoping that'll be Bellingham.
But what if it's not, though?
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
This thing, if it's not Bellingham, we better have a plan B.
John Joe Shelby just signed for Nottingham Forest. There's another one gone.
Gone, yeah.
Hey, could have been Return
Well,
of the Prodigal Son.
We were talking about improving while you're at the top. Arsenal today, deadline day, they're getting Jorginho in. They've just got Trossard in. They're improving while they're at the top, and they probably haven't even. Their team probably hasn't peaked yet.
I think they're getting Jorginho because of El Neni, aren't they? Because El Neni's hurt his knee or something. He's out for the season, is he? Something like that.
Yeah, but look at the injuries Liverpool have had, and we're not replacing anyone. We're just hoping that we get through.
Yes, some of the dribs and drabs, it's like, was it Nunez from Wolves in the summer, Bellingham in the summer, maybe Mason Mount at some
That
point.
Nunez from Wolves annoys me because we were linked with him heavily last summer. why didn't we just get him then?
Yeah.
Instead of now buying him at a more premium because he's at a Premier League club.
And there's
paying an extra 15 million.
Another thing today saying, Liverpool are going to look at, PSG, Munich and Dortmund and see if there's anyone they can take on loan for the rest of the season. Loans can be fine, but our last loan signing was Arthur Melo, who played 13 minutes.
The poor lad.
And is now being investigated as part of Juventus' dodgy dealings.
So is he still at Liverpool now? Just injured.
He's not played a game.
He's played 13 minutes.
You can't help that.
I know, but if he's only played 13 minutes, you cancel the loan.
The thing is, the Arthur Melo thing was a panic loan.
Yeah.
Which apparently we're looking at now on deadline day. Learn from your mistakes, lads. Don't do it. Just because if we're gonna get someone on loan who we haven't put all the research into looking at their stats and injury record, we might end up with another Arthur Melo. And then we might loan a midfielder that doesn't play for the rest of the season. Then we're back to square one.
Yeah. It's one of those, because we were saying before with Tchouameni, however you want to say it, when he went to Madrid, we just went, we haven't got him, let's not go for a plan B, which is admirable in one way, being like, we know who we want and we want them. But you think if you're panicking, you'd think you'd have lists upon lists upon lists.
You got to be proactive, haven't you, in those sort of situations, not reactive.
And we did that with Virgil when we signed Virgil, and that was like in the summer we tried to get him. He ended up staying at Southampton. We got him in January. We got him on Boxing Day or something, like before the January transfer window even opens.
I'll tell you what, that mantra
I was bowling when that happened as well.
Just you saying that,
I was working in Curry's.
It's just like Newcastle have had a few players recently who've been like that. Like we tried for Botman one window, didn't get him, waited until summer, got him at the price we wanted to. Yeah. It's all right when you're at Newcastle's level to do that sort of thing, because no pressure on Newcastle at the moment.
Yeah.
There will be in the future, but like back in the summer, I think the hope was the top 10 for us. We couldn't have dreamt of being where we are now.
Yeah.
But it's all right to do that at that level. It's not all right for Liverpool, is it now?
Well, because we were saying in the office before a ball had been kicked this season, and I was saying, I reckon for Newcastle, good cup run, maybe aim for the Europa League places.
I was hoping top 10, me. That's all I was hoping for.
Yeah.
I thought Newcastle had a good chance at a cup this season going into it. I didn't think top 4. I think that's mental.
So do I.
But I think you will get there.
I hope so.
Yeah.
You're taking our place, that's why.
Sorry.
I tell you what, though, I'll be fuming this season if Arsenal win the league with about 79 points, considering we've had to exhaust ourselves and get within the top 5 most points ever and not win it twice.
That's an interesting point, though. Would this be as doom and gloom as it was if Liverpool, those seasons where you got 2 points behind Man City, a point behind Man City, if you'd won those titles? Would it be as doom and gloom? Or is it all about the now?
I would say it wouldn't be as doom and gloom, because then you can say, well, look, we've got medals on the table kind of thing.
Yeah.
And while we still have that, we've had a lot of success the last few years. It's one of those where you're like, but you can see that squad's getting old. You can see that we've getting over the crest of a hill.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, we're not plummeting down, but we're on our way down.
It's better to be on the hill than buried under it. You're currently getting buried under it.
We are.
Yeah, because Liverpool fans, we can be a pessimistic bunch as well. But seeing what happened with United, it's like, at least United had a good 15 years on top before they went downhill. We've only had about 2. That's
This is what a lot of the FSG out people are saying, on Twitter and stuff. We were talking about it just before we started filming this. Twitter's been a cesspool.
Bit of bin fire.
Yeah, it's just so many outrageous reactions to things on Twitter. But a lot of the FSG out people have been saying, if they would have just invested a little bit more, we might have got 1 or 2 more Premier Leagues, 1 or 2 more Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
It seems like they're on the way out with just the one, which, don't get me wrong, I would have taken when they took over.
Yeah.
Where you were when they took over.
Exactly.
Bloody hell.
Well, exactly. No. Roy Hudson. Well, So we've had the dark days of Roy. So
God.
we've come a long way from there, and we've won every major honour, but now we're on the decline, and they're trying to get out while they can. But it just seems like they're
getting it in the neck the other side of the pond as well, because Boston Red Sox fans don't like them either. And whenever John Henry's been appearing and stuff recently, it's just been showers of booze.
I saw this.
Yeah.
The recent clip.
Well, there was the one where was it the NHL Winter Classic that he went to, and there was just people outside going, "Boo, boo, you're awful," and then was he at some kind of investment meeting or some kind of like on stage talking?
Why is this then?
Because Red Sox fans are the same. They're just like, why are our ticket prices are so high? That's what they're saying. I've never been to a Red Sox game. But they're saying our ticket prices are so high. Why is it not getting reinvested in the squad? And John Henry said something along the lines of, oh, well, good players are expensive, and they were just like, "Shut up! That's your job."
They do things that just doesn't align with the Liverpool fan base. They tried to increase ticket prices. We protested it. They have to lower them again. They tried to furlough staff in COVID. We protested it. They had to stop that. It's
a lot of the work's been done by it, because a lot of the fighting on Twitter this week's been about Spirit of Shankly, who are one of our main fan groups. They've got not a seat at the table, but their
voice is heard.
Basically, but they spearheaded the 20s Polity campaign, and like Owen said, they were set up to get Hicks and Gillette.
Hicks and Gillette getting them out.
So we've not got short memories. We remember all that and how bad things can be with the wrong owner. And like I said, we can see the advantages of having FSG, but again, if FP isn't working the way it should, and Todd Bowley's going absolutely insane.
That's going to get brought under more scrutiny, I think.
Oh,
now.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
But the game's changing in that way, is that it is becoming, unfortunately, like footy manager. It's like, you just got to spend a ton of money.
Well, it's been that way ever since the Premier League was a thing, wasn't it?
I know, but it's like that on glue now.
That's the thing that does my tit in about Man United. It's just my solitary tit, not both of them, just the one.
Just one.
Man United fans like going, "Oh, Man City have bought their history." You look at every major transfer from '92 onwards. Who was at the top? Man United every time.
Blackburn basically bought the league.
Exactly, Blackburn did. Newcastle had the little bit with Kevin Keegan. Everyone's done it, man.
They've always said if you got the highest wage bill, you're basically going to be at the top, aren't you?
Yeah, that's how it should work, apart from Leicester.
Yeah.
Leicester ruined football, didn't they? Because everyone's right, but Leicester. That's the yeah, bastards. But so I don't. You don't have to put your neck on the line if you don't want to. Are you FSG in or out? Is that a thing you want to put on camera?
Well, they're going out regardless.
No, you personally.
It's getting hot in here, Ross.
You don't have to, Owen.
I tell you, before this season, I've been FSG in, even through the down season when we had when we just scraped Champions League the year after we won the league. Because even after everything that we've won, during us winning these trophies, we had people saying FSG out. It's just.
Why would they be doing that when it was going well?
American owners, Hicks and Gillette, the aftermath of that.
Oh, right.
It
had left a sour taste.
But even after we've won everything now, before this season, there were people saying FSG out. But now it's getting to a point where they're actively trying to get out, and so I'm more so, like I said earlier, if they want to get out, they need to do the house up, and then sell it. No one.
So you're FSG out then?
No. In the sense that I want them now to move on, yes, but not in the sense I'm going to protest them to. I wasn't protesting a year ago, 2 years ago.
Let's say I'm not kicking them out of bed, but I'm not shedding a tear when they leave.
No, I think
because like I said, we've seen bad ownership. We've seen us go almost into administration.
Well, yeah, when
we've seen us go absolutely down the pan while still winning stuff. I can understand why some people think that we're just crying arseholes because they're you won everything, have you? It's like, but it is one of those. We've seen what bad ownership can look like, and like I've said 1,000 times in this, because it's apparently the only point I've got. FSG run is great as a business, but it's not just a business, is it?
Yeah, the sport at the end. I mean, what you're seeing on the pitch is how they've left us this season, basically.
Yeah,
with the lack of investment, the lack of, like we were saying before about club doctors, just the lack of just running us as a business, as a sporting entity this season. The business side has always been well above standard since the day they came in. But
Dunkin' Donuts,
proud sponsors.
Expedia, Jack Wolfskin. Where's the Jack Wolfskin money? That's what I'm at.
Yeah, but so in terms of all that, they've been great as owners. But it's just the last couple of seasons we've seen us get slowly. I say the last couple of seasons. We nearly last season. We all know how good we were, but it's time for them to.
But imagine what could have been if they did spend some money.
Well,
more money where it needed to be spent.
We're not.
Last season nothing would have changed last season if we had more money, because they brought in Diaz in January.
Yeah,
he made an impact. We missed out. We were 2 games off winning a quadruple. Them signing one more player in last season wouldn't have changed anything. But this season we needed to invest, and we didn't.
I mean, if it wasn't for Thibaut Courtois, we would have won that Champions League final.
Yeah.
He was.
Whoa, I can't remember that far back.
He was a mess.
I remember his couple of saves.
We couldn't finish our dinner, and he had the game of his life. And obviously, there's everything that happened outside the stadium as well. But it's like we say, it's all sorted on the pitch at the end of the day. The only people who will remember that Liverpool were arguably the better team on the night are Liverpool fans. Everyone else will just be like, well, Real Madrid won.
It's the same in the Premier League. When you look at like us being 1 point off the league, 2 points off the league, no one's going to remember that.
You're first or you're not.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if we got 90 odd points twice.
Yeah, because we're not like weird internet fans. We're just like, oh, nah, FSG out unless they spend £400 million. Because like you were saying, looking at Chelsea, I've no love lost for Chelsea, but I'm worried for them. I'm just like, this is going to end in tears.
They've got
and look at Nottingham Forest, the amount of money they've absolutely.
They're still spending it today. I don't understand.
I don't know what
they're getting 3 or 4 players. They're in for Keylor Navas as well.
Does FFP just not exist anymore? I don't understand.
Yeah, we're not asking to be like Forest or Chelsea, but when we're seeing that, we're just like
what a comparison, Forest or Chelsea,
I mean, they've got the same amount of European Cups, haven't they?
That would do as nice as it. Well, for some Chelsea fans, the FIFA generation, we'll call them. I'm sure it's lovely seeing Chelsea just buying everybody. Oh, they're interested in Mudryk. Oh, we'll go and get him instead. That would do my head in my vintage as a football fan.
Yeah, there's no long-term scouting involved.
There's no strategy.
No.
You want to see a manager like Potter's got a very clear way of playing, no matter how many formations he wants to play every single game. Buy the players to fit that. Don't just do this scattergun approach.
Don't worry. Mudryk will be left wing back in no time. don't you? Graham
he did look good against Liverpool, by the way. His little cameo.
He looked really good. And
Twinkle toes or what? Woohoo!
As I was watching through Grit TV going, oh, he's going to bank one in here, isn't he? 89th minute.
He did have James Milner on toast. Bless him.
Hey, Milner had a good game. I forget which game it was, but he had a very good game at right back. Was it Man City? Recently?
Yeah. Yes.
Whoa, there's life in the old dog yet.
Because, again, we're pessimistic. As soon as we saw the team sheet, we went 8-0. And then it came out, we were like, James Milner's a beast. Sorry we ever doubted
him. I was watching that. Is this the 1-0? He played right back in the 1-0, yeah. Yeah, I went to the pub to watch that with Joel, actually, and just like, how we won this? Like, the way we've been playing. And this has been the most infuriating thing for Liverpool fans, I think, this season, is there have been glimmers of hope.
Owen just swore, by the way, and we can't allow that here.
This is why I'm an editor, everyone.
He's a naughty boy.
He was doing so well for about 45 minutes.
This is why
he's made a mess.
Yeah. The look on your face was fantastic. You were just like, oh, Owen.
But I'm really disappointed in myself, to be honest.
We were talking about Milner and City, and we were saying that there have been glimpses of hope. We forget now that going into the World Cup, we were on a really good run of form. And like we're saying, there's space in my heart and there's space in my club for James Milner.
Yes.
As a seasoned pro to give advice in the locker room and to maybe, come on with 10 minutes to run it out.
When he's barking at people, that's the right word, isn't it? Just barking at them during the warm-ups. That's nice to see, I think.
Yeah. But we should not be starting James Milner at right back against City in the league. That's the thing. And it's just like, oh, Milner, I love you. But like we signed that. It was a Calvin Ramsey.
Yeah. Injured.
Yeah.
Injured most of the season.
No doctor? What do you expect?
Well, yeah, there you go.
He only had a paper cut. And they were just like, oh, we can't treat it. I'm sorry.
No plasters.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Just go home, run it under a tap. We'll call you in 6 months.
So the fix is basically FSG, spend some money, but not like Chelsea, in a responsible way. That's the fix.
Yeah. Because like we were saying before with the Deloitte Money League, and what was it after? Maybe not profits, but 500 million odd came into the club. He's saying a great deal of that was spent on wages, etc., etc., etc.
We do have one of the highest wage bills in the league.
Yeah,
we do.
But it's just the fact that it just seems like, oh, we've had Gakpo. Thank you. It'd be nice if we could have another.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't want to be like Chelsea, where it's just like, here's 600 million. Everything could go tits up next week. We could be in administration and in jail. But just buy a few players.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've surely got lists. It's mad because, like you said, it seems like we've just gone terrible overnight.
Is it just Klopp making these lists, though? Who's making the lists?
Well, we have had...
Who's checking them twice?
Julian Ward should be, but he's on the way out in the summer. So
there's a section of our fan base that hate Pep Linders as well.
Yeah.
I think that he's got too much of a say.
But he's an assistant manager who wrote a book about himself, didn't he?
Pep Linders has a big...
Well, someone said, put his bucket right back.
I got halfway through his book and just had to stop reading it.
Why?
Because I just got so sad.
Why?
The entire book's about intensity. And in real life, we've showed none of it. So I'll go back to it eventually.
So FSG spend responsibly, buy a new midfield, sack Pep Clinders.
Stop releasing books during the season.
It's not working, clearly. Pep, get out. What else is the fixes?
What do you think is, as an outsider, as a Newcastle fan, is looking inside?
You're loving life at the moment, so you can cast a critical eye across other people.
Well, I'll sit on my throne and look down on thee.
You've got every right to. Newcastle are fantastic.
It's the midfield, and I think it's Klopp as well. I think Klopp is trying things that aren't working. As it's not just Brighton; it's been a few times. And if you're not going to get up for games like Man City at home, like I know you're saying that was the shoot of hope. What game are you going to get up for?
Yeah,
It's on a Sunday on Sky. What if you're not getting up for this? Like Newcastle back in the day under Steve Bruce. We'll get there on a Sunday. Sky Sports will rock up, and John Joe Shelby will turn to Andre Pirlo. We play on a Saturday at 3:00. He plays like John Joe Shelby.
Well, we've had.
You'll miss him.
A little bit. I like the Raj package that he is, as we would say up here. Exactly.
That's
You don't need to do that, do you?
No, that's not John Joe. That.
But that's the two big ones for me. It's Klopp. I don't even know what you'd say to the Klopp. It's just certain things he's been trying recently just clearly haven't been working. And you need to invest in the midfield. Because I think defensively, you're all right. You're not too bad. I know that people are injured at the minute. You know, Kanate is 3 weeks today. It came out. Van Dijk's still got 2 weeks before he's back. But you're largely okay.
Joe Gomez and Matip are both.
Trent needs to put his finger out his arse. What's going on with? He was getting sassy against Brighton as well.
He goes up and down though. He'll have matches where he looks like the Trent of old. No matter what you think of the Trent of old, I'm a fan.
I'm a fan. I'm a big fan as well. I think
it's
it's sacrilege that Gareth does what he does with him with England.
Yeah.
Why you can't find a space for him in your team? I don't. Especially when you're playing three centre halves behind the right wing back.
Yeah.
What's the harm in playing him?
Exactly.
Gareth.
You're preaching to the choir. But I think that Trent's form this season has been his own doing, but also he's someone who needs a lot of cover because he's so forward thinking. But it goes back to midfield. The lack of legs to cover him, they're not there.
Because that'll be the big difference, wouldn't it, from a few years ago? Like Jordan Bryan Henderson will be making it there, but he's not making it there.
Even Fabinho was getting out there. Fabinho can't get bloody halfway there now.
Do you remember when Robertson came into the squad? We had, what was his name at left back?
Alberto Moreno.
We had Alberto Moreno was our first choice, and it was like the old days. He got a knock, had to go out, so we were like, Robertson, it's your turn. He went in and established it. When Trent goes out, we're meant to be saying, Calvin Ramsey, do you want a kick? Oh no, he's out of a paper cut. Jimmy Milner, do you want to?
It's either that or Joe Gomez, but now Gomez is going to have to play.
He's gone off the boil as well. He looks shaky. He's out.
Yeah.
He does, but I feel bad for him. He's been out for a while with bad injuries.
But that's the thing though with Gomez. We've been saying this for years now. It's just like, another bad injury, and we were hoping it'd be like when Steven Gerrard was younger and he had growing pains and he'd be out for swaves at the time. We thought he'll grow through this, and now it's just looking like
it just looks like he is injury prone.
Like Naby Keita, but without spending the guts of 65 million on him. It's just like you can't guarantee that you'll get a run of 5 matches out of him.
Which is a shame because when we won the league, he was the main centre back with Van Dijk. And he looks like a shell of that player. And it's a shame because he's still so young. He's like 24, 25.
I think that's not helped either as well, that because we've been conceding first all the time and Alisson looks fuming. But it has been a different back four every week. There's been no rhyme or rhythm. Yeah.
Same in midfield. Same up front, actually. Same throughout the whole team.
All over the pitch.
Yeah. That would be another thing as well. Get yourself a centre forward. You can put them away more times than not.
Well, this is it. Well, when we've got the team, or the entire first team back fit, I don't think we will for the rest of the season now. So it'll be looking at next season. But if our front three is Salah, Nunes, and Diaz or Gakpo, I'd like to have them run of games consistently and see how they do. We haven't seen a first front three all season, I don't think.
I'm only saying that because of Nunez's missed chances. Now, I don't know how costly the individual misses have been. Like, you might have won the game anyway.
Yeah.
Where you missed a gilt-edged chance. But it feels like you should have scored at least 10 more goals.
But again, it's like in previous seasons, we would have ridden our luck. Nunez hasn't scored, but, one's pinged off the back of his head and, Firmino's buried it and it's fine.
But if Nunez does, grab some of those goals and we do snatch a wins here and there, I think it is probably just papering over the cracks anyway. Yeah. The results can be deceiving. The performances have been shocking.
The thing I take solace in with Nunez as well is he hasn't let his head drop.
No, he keeps getting in those positions, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Doesn't always put it in, but he keeps getting in there.
That's brilliant.
That's the most important
love
thing.
him.
Is there anything else we need to touch on about the general state of Liverpool Football Club?
See what I got here.
He's come with notes.
He has?
No, I just came out with, because there was just about, it's the sale. The timing of FSG saying they were putting the club up for sale was a blessing and a curse.
Was it just before a transfer window?
It was, wasn't it just before the World Cup?
Just before the World Cup.
So just before-ish a transfer window.
Yeah, and we said, oh, we're up for sale. And then United...
Well, that's why you're not spending any money, because you're up
Yeah.
for sale. You're waiting for... It's the Newcastle Mike Ashley way. It felt like for several years, Amanda Staveley would come down in December like Santa Claus, and she'd go, oh, I've got presents for you, Newcastle fans, and nothing would happen for years. And because of her being there, we wouldn't spend money, and that would be the reason given. It feels like that.
Well, that's what some of the more cynical members of the fan base say. It's like, oh, Bellingham. They were saying, watch us not sign Bellingham now and be like, oh, we were so close. We were going to sign him, but, well, sorry. It does. If I ever see him in a Liverpool shirt, I'll feel a lot more calm. But the thing that didn't help us with them announcing we were going up for sale, because then people were thinking, get this done in a matter of weeks, not realising that the process is long.
Yeah.
And then
we're not Chelsea. Like the Chelsea situation was so different.
Yeah. And then United come out a couple of days later and they're like, we're up for sale as well.
Kind of stole our thunder, Ross, I have to say.
It's like,
What are you playing at?
Thanks, lads. It's like the 90s again.
But it looks like
everything for me.
United are going to be sold before us.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like we're going to be sold. It looks like
I mean,
it's
Man
going to be.
United is going on a while as well. You got that Jim, big rich Jim.
I know, but
Yeah.
is he not? Does it
Jim,
not look
BRJ.
like he's going to get it?
It's gone quiet. It was a couple of
Has
weeks
it?
ago, like it was catching pace, wasn't it? Like pace was gathering, I should say. And now we're sat here now, and she seems to have ended.
Because we've been rumoured for investment from the Middle East. And it's brought out the ugly side of Twitter. Because that's a discussion for another time, obviously. But
It's a discussion that should be had, by the way. I'm sitting here as a Newcastle fan. That bloody stuff. It's a weird moral compass to set for yourself.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're a football fan. What choice do you have?
Yeah.
It's not like the American franchises go and pick a different one. I'm from up here. I'll support Newcastle. I'm sure you'll continue to support Liverpool if that does happen.
Yeah.
But you'll you always feel a little bit weird. Why do
You might see me in Prenton Park. Just going. Well, we actually were a different tangent though. But me and my friends did, honestly, a few years back think, let's start going to Tranmere games, because at the time we were young, we were poor, we've been completely priced out of it.
Yeah.
And that's another discussion about modern football. But then we looked at Tranmere season tickets, and we were that poor we couldn't afford them either.
How much were they like?
I think at the time they were about 300 quid. That's probably completely wrong. There'll be some
I
Tranmere fan
hope it is for
fuming.
Tranmere. Bloody hell.
They'll be fuming.
They're in League One, aren't they?
No.
League Two?
Conference, aren't they?
No, Tranmere on conference.
They went up. They
we
had
played them in the
back-to-back
League Cup this
promotions,
year, didn't we?
I think they're in League Two.
But they have been in the conference in recent
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
we?
Recent years,
When
yeah.
you would have been looking at them, they would have been, wouldn't they?
Possibly, but maybe not 300 quid. But we were thinking, it's probably 80 quid for the year, and it wasn't that. And we were just like, I can't do that for Tranmere.
So
But
there we go. We'll just all support Tranmere. Should we end it there? Is that all
SWA,
the
yeah.
big ones covered?
This has probably been a bit of a mess, but hopefully we've
It feels
covered
like a
all the
bit-
big talking points.
we're emotional.
A bit
Yeah.
of a therapy session for you two, getting all off your chest.
It's been nice.
I feel relieved.
I don't get to see Owen
I
that
know,
much.
It's
Yeah?
good to see. It's good to actually talk to you about Liverpool, because we never actually chat about it in person, really.
We're in different offices.
Yeah.
You are.
But,
Separated by the divide.
Yeah, I think it's important that fans of other clubs know that we're not whining about like a
We do realise that
don't-
we've had it good, and we've
we've
pretty
had it-
much
we've
got
had
it good
go.
in many ways.
Yeah.
But things can always be better, can't they?
Yeah,
Of course they can.
you know.
Just like here at Hold and Give, if you subscribe. Thank you for joining us today. I've been Ross Tweddell.
Look how happy he is because Newcastle are good now.
He's off to the League Cup semi-final tonight.
Right, I don't know if I'll make it though. I'll be on the back row of the bloody the Milburn stand. I might perish on the way. 14 flights of stairs. Oh my God. Anyway, that's besides the point. He's been Atkins, Owen Mawson on the end there. Let us know what you think about the state of Liverpool Football Club down below and how you would fix everything, because YouTube always knows. We'll see you next time on Hold and Give.